Today, inside the program, Radio Democracy that assess the speech where President Bio make na the American University for knowing some of the things them they affect the country and governance structure and also the impact to diplomatic community. For can talk on this issue, we get Abdul Fatoma, Chief Executive from CHRDI. We also expect somebody from the Strategic Communication, Joe CC, for be part of this program. Or at this time now, another it's at the studio and the program. Good morning, Salon get for continue. Well, as all man know, President Bio they attend the 78th session of the UN General Assembly. Also, they join colleagues of head of state, government and global leaders for rebuild trust in the Agenda 2030. And the theme for this United Nations General Assembly, now rebuilding trust and reigniting global solidarity, accelerating action on the 2030 Agenda for Sustainable Development Goal towards peace, prosperity, progress, and sustainability of all. And President Biodon, they do different engagements since in delegation left Salon for the part of this particular 78th session of the United Nations General Assembly. So at this time, they bring in Mr. Fatoma. Before we start for look at President Bio's speech, specifically on which to design a program for, start for give we listen and view them. What do you think, or what are your opinion about this year Onga 2023?
Well, every year, this part of the year month, like September, United Nations country members go gather in United Nations, New York. First, when they be starting at the League of Nations, and now they say United Nations. It be specifically be designed supposedly for the countries then gather together and share their experience, challenges, and find a comfortable way how they go resolve their issues and so we all go live as one nation, like a United Nations. So that might be the purpose. But you see, early 2020s, maybe that time most people will listen me. We don't get sense, they follow. The actual pageant where the United Nations they get them again. Because we get people like Muammar Gaddafi, Munajad from Iran. If then they attend, the BBC, the CNN, all attention go they more on, than two speakers because now then go look the United States president them, or other powerful nations and tell them the naked truth, about their involvement in Africa and the deprivation of African nations. And also Iran, go put them position in place, about either America being a bully to them, Russia and other things. And they say it as it is. So then they say a lot of, attention they on international diplomacy. And they also can look at the, global security architecture. That are one of the space and also a peace message globally. Countries that we get war, how them go try. And so a smaller countries like Sierra Leone, we can go there and also express challenges in governance issues. During the MPRC days, if you listen Strasser in speech, it was more about giving the reason why they overthrow the bad governance system where we get at this country, the human rights challenges that we get, and how it call on, United Nations members for come to we rescue, as a smaller country. So other countries then back with small can also use a similar platform. But the UN platform don't become now a space outside more you see that countries and just go display the little effort on the SDG, but much has not been done. We do that with the Millennium Development Goal. Globally, you see countries raise a lot of issues, say by 2020, we for them achieve this, that we reverse that and then we say, okay, now it's not the millennium. We don't come up from the millennium. We now come to Sustainable Development Goal, and we don't go far. We still they see how countries the regional blocks, them like the AU, the EU, the North America Alliance as well, and the South America building something. Yes, you are wrong for time.
All right. Now, you just mentioned about Africa leader them every year whether they go to UN General Assembly and safe during the term of Gaddafi and the rest. But if you listen to other, public lecturer them, they will tell you say every year Africa leader that they go to that summit day, just for enjoy DSC, and the rest. You think say for the context of Salone, in any way we don't benefit after we leader they can attend some of them program then they?
You see like then gathering and it's not only the main UN platform where you get a slot or give a speech for like other countries and listen to you. In fact, the interesting thing is that after United States or Russia or during the time where Gaddafi been there, or Iran, after then key people then they don't talk. You see say they hold the empty. Even other countries then like China and Japan, when it comes to Africa, the whole been the empty. Because actually people then be really keen one for Yeri, waiting at the United States then position on the global issues, either on human rights issues, either on climate change issues, and so on and so forth. But when you then gathering and you then network with several other individuals and multilateral institutions. So then multilateral institutions and they might get interest for kind of a country like Gabon. So, but they not be get the opportunity for pay, a pre-assessment visitation. So now they don't get access to Gabon foreign minister or Gabon president. As an example, either Gambia or Sierra Leone. So with that now, then can we forget a fruitful discussion as a start point, and then after that you see them come. But the sad thing is that we as a country we only propagate flashlight, development we very flashy. Then only we propagate, but then a consistently follow up on a story, we're not able for actually do that. So now then they make you see administration after administration. A lot of Sierra Leoneans go think say we don't attend summit there, nothing not come out of it. But I not stand for believe with that. Since we gain independence, we start for attend United Nations. We don't gain. We might not gain the larger capital, but we don't get a lot. One even just for showcasing the country's situation, and other countries then get the opportunity for look into it and see how best then able for partner with we. For fight them challenges and that's also something we gain. I cannot say
Mr.
totally
Fatoma,
we are not. Yeah.
So you want to say in time to come from different administration to now the representation of delegation with the left salon for go attend the United Nations General Assembly, not only get things right, for getting priority right and bring back to the country in terms of networking and attracting investor them?
If you listen to me clearly, that not
No, and then make I say if you want to say, because you just say it's more flashlight. So
what I say in the flashlight, like for example, let me take and I take a middle way, the junta, the military government, right, will be get. When Strasser then be take over as young as they were, right? When in first appearance, the United Nations, it cataloged the issues of Sierra Leone, human rights, bad governance. So with that, United Nations began for find a way how then go counter we rescue as a country and support we in the pathway in the peace process and also with reconciliation process, even to the time where we get, with transitional justice system mechanisms in this country. Like when you look at the special court, it's a hybrid within the United Nations and the government of Sierra Leone. So if we not been the use them platform, but then after we don't go get them connections and they will put with case. When help begin come through, would I actually the report on that help done? The delegation will been go. So that's how they try for talk. It's not about say they not get this, that, but what they say, we only can report now the delegation don't go. So when they return back home, any follow-up mechanism, development or other thing, it will be hardly a report where go connect, to this very goal or the previous goal that will be done again. Now that's how they try for say.
So why you think then changes in the on issues?
Because of lack of laziness for provide information to the people of this country.
Laziness from whose angle
From
exactly?
government.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right, Mr. Fatoma, again, if you listen to other African leaders, like Paul Kagame, he will tell you, say, the African, Assembly, the UN General Assembly, not the right platform for let Africa discuss Africa issue or development. You think, say, in any way, Africa, we need now for create our own platform, also we could discuss some of the challenges where Africa we get for do development?
We get a platform, but Paul Kagame and others, and they're all a hypocrite. They're very hypocrite to this continent, right? We get a platform. How many efforts then don't do? As African leaders, we think say external platform not appropriate for Africa, but Africa platform appropriate for Africa. Paul Kagame and others sit down. Now China renovate with African Union building. Also, would they go for meeting? What did Rwanda do towards that? Right? So if you say African for actually when Muammar Gaddafi began that interest, some of the African leaders and connive with the West for ensure that say Libya they USA ide today. So when they say that, for just get the interest of people who believe say they're not Pan-African.
So people believe
we're actually not seeing the truth. But just because of them say this is an area Pan-African, they are not Pan-African. The Pan-African ideology, you think about Africa and you do Africa. So if they criticize the company and say this, when Biden make a summit, when Obama make a summit for African leader, he was there. Why not reject, say no, when I bring this summit from New York to Freetown, Kigali, or, Lome, or Conakry,
okay,
or the Gambia?
So the issue of vulnerability of Africa country then because of too much poverty, now one way people can use as example for say that series will make Africa leader in most cases can do things where they in line or in favor of the Western world. In any way you buy that thought?
Say the African
country them so vulnerable because of so much poverty.
Well, the poverty make we vulnerable, but not only poverty. We lack of system, with governance systems across the African continent. It actually make the African nations become more vulnerable to the West. And, now that space China in look and try for enter. The West, like America, even though they're not a beacon of human rights, but their approach, them try to prioritize their foreign policy interests on human rights, democracy across the globe, and more towards African countries. Then China now look at the vulnerability of the poverty we talk about, say, we will provide loan, provide infrastructure and electricity. So with that, we can able to get the attention of them countries. So China infiltration with these two ideology will provide loan to them countries. We help them with infrastructure. Inside there we get energy supply. Then definitely you see that say China become a threat, to the United States. And United States try for re-strategize and try for see how best then we're able for infiltrate in Africa. But even with that, then try for play a lot of soft diplomacy with that by calling African leaders, for the go Washington. They call it the African Leaders Summit. So with that, getting the African leader already, they are indebted to China. So you cannot say. And when you look at in the development space, when you look at the money where you say they give, or EU they give, and China they give, you see EU development very tangible on infrastructure like bridge and roads. But then when you come to the United States, they try to look at the sensitive side of human being. When you look at the World Bank funding, then when they come towards them poorer countries there, US they contribute more higher than any other countries. When you also comes to the health, WHO, US they come more further. So if, for example, you're in war with United States, diplomatic war, then they withdraw them funding from World Bank, they withdraw them funding from WHO, they withdraw them funding contribution also to UNICEF. So meaning the programs that were UNICEF, WHO, and World Bank, they support their country, then they fall. World Bank will go back to this country president and say, sorry, we not get much funding. We donors are not agree for fund this priority, this focus area for this country. So you look at US, even in the NGO world, when they give money, that organization cannot be sustainable. Because when they give money, exactly if you need $2,000, then they give $1,500. When you don't, then they give the other $500. So like you see the European, donors them or the Chinese, they will give you that bulk and get the latitude for operate. You see, now like the threat way we get now Sierra Leone within the China and the US. You not go able for enter an African by road if you China not give you the permit or authority. The toll gate.
Okay. Abdul, Fatoma, according to the producer, and time for go for a break. When they come back to you, the program Good Morning Salon, they continue.
Of course, I have to ask you about the most recent election. Various observers, including the Carter Center, have raised concerns about the fairness of the election, especially focused on the work of the Electoral Commission, ECSL. The U.S. State Department has issued visa restrictions on Sierra Leoneans involved in what they call election interference. And we'd all like to hear your reactions to those allegations and to the actions taken in response.
Elections are always contentious issues wherever they happen in the world, including in the United States. But I do not have the power to issue visa restrictions, of course. That's the difference.
Please allow me to continue coming to Sierra Leone.
Elections are conducted by a body mandated by our Constitution, and its operational mode is directed by the Public Elections Act. Normally, before elections take place, because we have our partners, including the United States, the EU, the British, and other organizations that are interested in democracy, a steering committee is put together, and all stakeholders, including political parties, are represented in that steering committee. What they do is to look at everything that has to be done, the rules of the game, to make sure that the Public Elections Act is clean and will lead to a credible election at the end of the day. That was what attained in Sierra Leone. I was not a member of that. The only thing we did for the election was to make sure that whatever the National Electoral Body asked for, we provided, including funds and security. Their business, they are an independent, semi-autonomous body, in the sense that we don't deal with their day-to-day operations. We don't control that at all. If we do, that would be interference.
That's ECSL?
ECSL. And they did that. When the elections were at the height of calling the result, this was when the problem started. They had done all their calculations, collation, and all the processes. I was now requested to stop them from calling the result by the United States. So I don't know who is accusing who of interference.
Yes.
I declined and I said, I have never called this institution. I am not going to call them now. If there are any issues, let's deal with them. Let's leave them to finish. This is very critical. Let's also take into consideration the context in West Africa, a very volatile region. We are threatened by jihadists in the whole of the Sahel. From the Atlantic Ocean to the Red Sea, we have military governments. A few of us are surviving as democratically elected governments. And when the United States cast doubt on an election that was considered to be the most peaceful, not my words, but the observers, free and fair, and then the United States cast doubt on the credibility, you are calling for a coup. This is what we don't recognize. In any case, the same representatives of the United States have told us that in any case, they just wanted a second round. In any case, I was going to win because all the polls made that clear. And I can say here that based on what I have done in the last 5 years, under the circumstances, we can go to the polls today and in a free, fair election, I will not get 56%. I will get nothing less than 60%. I mean, it is unfortunate what the U.S. has done insofar we have a great bilateral relationship with the United States.
You just listen to President Bio, where be the talk after be the talk during a Q&A after he deliver a public lecture on the topic building a prosperous, secured future through human capital development. Also use alone as a case study at the School of International Service in United States, Washington, D.C. to be precise. So from that Q&A, we listen and view. Now inside the program, we guess that they can analyze and take any effect or impact. And at this time again, Abdul Fatoma still deals with the studio from CHRDI in the chief executive. And at the same time, program Good Morning Salon continue. Over to you, Abdul Fatoma. You just don't listen, and I believe say even for more you listen and you don't listen, I mean they do follow up on the different President Bill during that Q&A session there.
Well, one basic thing we stand out that make them get a contention with China because China go with economic development, while U.S. approach with, institutional building. They believe in democracy, they believe in good governance, and with good governance, you can able to get good thing back home because when you get system and structures, it's very good. And so casting a grave allegations against the United States. And these very allegations then taken very seriously back home at their country because you see even the former president and other people then, they face multiple trial for interference into the election.
So it's a grave allegation from who that exactly?
I mean, the government of Sierra Leone,
okay,
the president, make a grave allegations against the United States. So even at the ambassador been there, they act on and behalf of the people of America. They been there, they represent the American government and the American people. So if we president say it be column for make e go call the ECSL for put a hold on the calling of the result, that tantamount to interference into the electioneering process. And back home to them, these are very serious crime. And also back home to Sierra Leone, these are a very serious crime where they inside with Public Elections Act. Where the law they will prevent citizens or any other person for letting not interfere into, electioneering process. So if we government, they make these allegations serious and grave, shocking allegations against the United States, it's very serious. You might just saying that, say, President Bill don't go talk very tough, but it's very serious. If the U.S. as well been they ask for, we set up an independent body for look into how we elections day, then now they can get these allegations, a country will believe in system. Pretty soon, you go, say, themselves will put up, investigation into these allegations against, their country.
So in your words, allegation means something we not get proof for evidence. So what you think say a whole leader of a country go make such statements we not get anything for point at as an evidence or we not happen at all?
Well, substitute in law, one person say this, the other person no can confirm it. The U.S. Embassy in Freetown, when journalists and try to get to them, then decline, and they show the reason, say, then no they comment on diplomatic issues, diplomatic conversations. So, but they not decline, say, there was no conversation between the president of Sierra Leone and that of the United States ambassador. But then say, they not go and comment on, a diplomatic conversation. So the fact now where we get outside, Now, from one side, and it's the president of Sierra Leone.
So you think it's necessary for let the US
So I think that will
out?
come as an allegations. But if we're able to get a confirmation from the two parties, now we get a audio conversation between the president and the ambassador, then, we get audio expert that will confirm, say, that's the voice of the U.S. ambassador. That will, some of we go omit the word of, allegations. But for now,
so you ask for proof and evidence, enough one.
Not to me, they ask for proof.
So
based on one side, we don't hear. So far, as a professional, I consider it to be an allegation.
So you think it's necessary for let the US come, and tell we whether not true or not, or let themselves give out their own, side of the story?
Whether we want or not, US as a country we believe in system, as a country we believe in democracy, believes say if there is serious and grave allegations against the country on one of the fundamental principle way them believe in, the former president, currently they stand trial, and several other people for interfering into the electioneering process. So now, if they're outside of the country, a head of state accused them of, interfering, into local election process outside of United States. They're very grave and serious concern. So either we, the people of Sierra Leone, want or they don't want, because the other countries and then America, they talk on democratic principle, they also go watch. So why is it that, say, we will get the British High Commission, we will get the German, we will get the EU, we will get the UN, the steering committee where the president talked about during his town hall meeting, we will get 4 civil society them, where they new, CHRDI, IGR, COUP, then we get all most of the multilateral key players there.
Okay.
The EU, the UNDP, the UN resident coordinator, and the chief minister. Now then be the co-chair the meeting in there.
Right.
So basically, if United States single out for having a direct interference into the electioneering process, where they against international laws, there is a very serious concern.
Okay. Mr. Fatoma, in any way, the allegation there, where the president make, get for and bog the relationship with Salone and America?
Let me tell you, each country get their own interest. America always talk and say they don't get permanent enemy, they don't get permanent friend. It's all about bordering on American economic interests and then diplomatic interests. If then say they're wrong Sierra Leone, then there's so many ways, for attract for let we smooth with relationship.
Okay.
America and Sierra Leone, the relationship not sour like other countries there. Look the issue on Iran and the United States. The 5 prisoners away they don't return for us, and the money where US on freeze and say let them focus that on development. Look at the outrage in the United States, from politicians, from political scientists, them, and social commentators, them, on the issue of Iran and America. So we and America, we're not that much deep as an enemy. We go see, say, other countries and then Africa, we don't do the worst than this allegation towards America.
Okay.
But because of America take them so important as part of their foreign policy portfolio, now the continent, Museveni. Look, the key players the way they do it.
Okay, Abdul Fatoma.
Yeah.
Continue for the with we. Name Abdul Fatoma, Chief Executive from CHRDI. Today inside the program, good morning, Salud. Assess the speech where President Bio make na the American University for know if some of the things them will affect the country and governance structure, and also if it gets any impact on the diplomatic community between Salone and US government. At this time, I want to welcome the head of strategic communication, Joe Cisse. Good morning and welcome to the program.
Yeah, good morning. Family morning.
Okay, I believe so you don't follow on the different issues they moved on the look at today inside the program. And at this time now, we look at the speech specifically where President Bio make na the American University. And you don't hear the point also where Mr. Fatoma don't they make from government's own angle, as you dare for talk on government side, Mr. Cisse. Waiting at the first week, or kind of you mind listening or watching President Bio making that statement they do in the Q&A session?
Okay, I want to tell you thank you, and I also want to apologize to Una and family for coming late. This traffic, now this international school decree, really terrible. I don't know that traffic over 1 hour now for Canada. The police all side block right from Hill Station. So I make a candidate at this program. I just want the family and the police need for really manage that situation well. Okay, I be listen the program right through, and I don't hear me, boy. I don't talk a lot on the issues. Our for stress here, just like how it be the just now, with relationship with the United States very good, and we continue for strengthening them. That relationship they built on mutual respect, cooperation, and we're not going to do anything for Puebla. The talk where His Excellency go talk na the United States during that Q&A session. I mean, basically setting the record straight. If you look at the question where they ask her about this visa ban where they don't put on people them targeted people where they say interfere with the June 24 elections, and as a result, then undermine democracy. So now that question they posed to her directly, we make himself, I mean, he try for put her straight like how it be. Me want to say this. His Excellency, na post you know they talk no more. We all know that one day. And it talk when it's necessary. If waiting it talk so, not be ever happen, it not go talk.
So there's an evidence to what he say?
So now I tell you say, as long as the president talk that one day, na for no say it happen. Because this na man, we no go ever talk to you no happen. Me know that one day. Yeah, and every other person you don't cause him, but know him for being that kind of person. That is why he does not talk much. Yeah? But then, what he make with the try for say this, like the United States, we campaign democracy in the world, we all know say na in the champion democracy. So, therefore, if anything the way people then think say get the potential for Hamburg democracy, one of the right places we go talk about, now inside it. Because now the biggest democratic nation in the world. You know? That issue there, all man get your way it is style. Yeah? But then, let's look at it this way. All this while, this still don't end over away from where the election not done. Now the thing and the way we don't do till we election outcome small.
What you talk about teen? What you refer to exactly?
It's here the allegation the opposition make.
Okay.
Yeah. That the election then now so if they talk say that they winner. I mean there is no truth in that absolutely. Because if he knew not to be in their business, they're not getting no business for go announce for go tell you about whether they win election or not they win election. Why did they do that? Now God 91 grace abi. Then I start and now all that controversy they start. Just like how the president talker. The election, all by way of observe the election, they say the election peaceful, the election free and fair. There's everything, the one the way they try for dispute the outcome of the election, we try for saying that the tabulation not be transparent and the figures between the one way the Chief Electoral Commissioner, National Returning Officer announced, and that PVT, that projection when you do, match. Come on. We're talking about real figures where the law. Now made the president emphasize that. Now the body where they conduct election as salon, independence. You look the constitution of the Supreme Law, it make it very clear. Say nobody not for interfere with the operations.
So in any way there was no interference from government or president directly during the whole electoral
Definitely.
process to the announcing of the result?
Definitely. When somebody see this is not about making statements or allegations. Allegations are backed by evidence. You understand? If you now make the same law, we create ECSL and tell you say they're independent, nobody know for interfere in the operations. Now the same law tell you say if you are dissatisfied with the outcome, you for go to court, then you go seek redress.
Why you think say people get
evidence?
Why you think say another set of people get different view on this? For say there was no interference from government.
Well, not a question of different set of people. I mean,
not to everybody. Yes, some man. It's obviously not going to be everybody like the whole population.
So I just want to learn on this one. The things the way happen. We make yourself in your own judgment you thinking, you go sit down look and say, it's Alex something wrong somewhere. One, new, now civil society organization. They're not going no business for 10 years. You say election they go on off or enough or go on off. That is not their business. Not to the whole one day. You understand? Why did they do it? Tell today, una for the ask them, but why don't do it? You know they be so no side. Then secondly, the law very clear say if you are dissatisfied with the outcome of elections, you will take your evidence at the Supreme Court.
All right.
People they not go court too. And if you not go court, by implication, you agree with the result.
Right.
Because now the result if you go challenge court with you evidence.
All right. You may talk about civil society new to be specific, say they not get to no business on thing that we get for do election, especially with figure. But not to the first 10 this, Mr. Asise, wait. Not to the first 10 this new, don't they do this? So why now una concern when you don't they do the same thing they are doing in the term in the opposition?
Okay, fine. Yeah, not to the same thing you ever do in the opposition. Me not ever recall when you, before they announce the election results, new can't tell you say election they go or not for another they go or not.
Mr. Asise, they not do over the past year.
No, sir, no. Then go tell you say they do the projection in match with waiting electoral commissioner say, and that's supposed for Apple. Like if they don't do the projection, this is not projection based on what you feel say you get that versus the man where in get the year figure na in hand. Now two different things in the wire. So if you think say you they do your projection, wait the one way for call result when any law say for call result, let it call result, then you can challenge. You understand? With your reports, recommendations as an observer. So the one that will contest the election, if they are dissatisfied, they can challenge the outcome in court. So that's what the constitution says.
So why not think about new them projection and not take the legal action? Because you self don't say no to something they announce. Then just project, waiting to observe and notice from the election.
So why are we new in issue inside? Because that is where all these problems started.
Okay.
Yeah? Now then the whole thing starts. During the election, peaceful, free and fair, most observers tell you that one day. We said the whole controversy begin now where new then feel to say the chief electoral commissioner they can announce results. So all they expect results for be announced just an hour or two before that. Yeah, me say they follow the radio. Now in them kind of talk say they don't do projection as far as they're concerned. One candidate is not going to win the election for go on off.
Okay, so Mr. Asise will move forward.
So
now.
that is where they come. I will need to make this clear because I know they forget quick. And then this whole problem starts. Immediately when they pull out release day, some of them Western observers they say pull press release. Yeah, they talk about transparency with the tabulation, you understand, and the variation between new the projection and the result where the chief electoral commissioner announced. Now then the whole problem starts. So now and the opposition as well. Okay. Now that new thing they themselves take begin to unpack. So the whole thing started right there.
So you don't make that point clear. Yeah. Moving forward now, let's look to the current situation on President Bio in Q&A session. According to President Bio, there was no interference from in government or indirectly. Definitely. Is it that because this election day in SLPP favor make una say that? If not be otherwise, waiting people for we don't see.
Well, I don't know if why you take the time you say before the election.
No, I say is it that day in una favor? SLPP come as victorious. Now that's a question.
This one back clear, yeah. Prior to the elections, all opinion polls, what they do, all point to the fact that President Bio go win, and almost all point to the fact that he go win on the first ballot. Go back and check the records. All opinion polls. You understand me? And secondly, the government fund most of the operations of ECSN. In other words, because it wants anything for them in favor. No. Now because election, we count in election now we business. Yeah. So now we could take away money we fund that, and that should be a source of pride for all Sierra Leoneans. Let us understand that one day. Not all things now outside I don't know what for can do for we. Let us say begin to do something for us, and then they made it outside they own a card they respect we. Right. That is just what President Bio was trying to do. Yeah. Then also, election we favor the president campaign. A campaign pass everybody be there by that election day. Under rain, under sun, all over the place. If they get very little sleep. If not possible, we been believing in manipulation. You know they about so too much for campaign. Right. We all see that this country say a campaign pass all man far away Because
So that's-
if you let the vote come out, let the vote for her genuinely, and that was what happened at the end of the day.
So that speech of President Bio during in Q&A, so many people get a view and explanation. And according to the other guests here where we get, Mr. Fatoma described as so unfortunate and very grave, according to what President Bio state. Waiting, you say the allegation, he said that's an allegation. Yes, which simply means waiting are your own view to that.
Well, I don't start for Siana. Me don't know President Bio for a very long time. I possibly we know they talk beaucoup, and they talk when it's necessary for talk. Me they insist now also as you know. If that conversation will not be take place, the president will talk up.
So, Mr. Joe,
And they tell you exactly, they quote exactly the conversation.
So, Mr. Sise will go see outside government go pull this audio for let people not continue for question President Bill.
I don't go tell you down there. I don't go confirm it to you. Yeah. Waiting on I don't tell you. The president said the facts and he just set the record straight.
All right.
You understand? And that not in any way supposed to jeopardize with relationship with anybody.
Okay.
Because this is about building, making democracy strong. Now we country. The question where they ask her, now he respond to. There has been travel ban on people the way they say interfere with the elections and by so doing undermining democratic process in Sierra Leone.
And the people are not getting active.
So if somebody were not supposed for call her and tell and say, go do this and that, not no one for let call her push out. And also, let us bear in mind, we are talking about the president of the country. You understand? And we are talking about the constitution of Sierra Leone. Let me begin to tell you just to say that the constitution of Sierra Leone, nine creates ECSL, nine ensure the independence of ECSL. Yeah? Nine say ECSL nobody not for interfere in the operation. So if you call the president, he tell us say for stop the announcement of elections, then they clearly the interference in the work of ECSL because the president not get that right. Now make it clear. He not get that right for tell ECSL waiting for do. Himself na contest in the contest, so he cannot do it. The people for allow and for allow for they follow the law. The law very clear. Whether you feel say this thing are not doing fine or not doing fine, and now you talk about tabulation. You get to go look at the law back. What will law say? How will be done? ECSL says don't maintain. Me not the old brief for them, but they say don't maintain. Say they follow the law. If you feel say they don't follow the law, take them to court. Then let them go pull say they don't follow the law in the tabulation. But if they follow the law in that tabulation, then they did not do anything wrong. It will look bad to you when they look at from outside. But then what do? That make you for come up with recommendations. That make the president set up election review system.
Even that
then we look at
system,
the elections process and make them better. That is what we do.
Even that review committee, they now one way the international community and local still gets question of because of the vice president we have been contest inside the election and then go in the part of the committee. The American ambassador not question the integrity of the vice president, but it just mentioned say you're not supposed for the part of if they really want for get the issues them we come out inside the past election.
But again, we don't maintain. I mean, there was some misconception somewhere about this whole thing. The election systems review, not to that election day. What happen inside the election day in the watch. Now the elections process we will get as a country.
Okay.
You understand? When I hear some people the question, we make them feel to say certain things happen go wrong. Yeah? And the vice president appointment at that top, now for ensure ownership of the process. As a matter of fact, everybody did it. Civil society did it, international partners did it, this and that brought him. So the vice president cannot influence anything there. Not just a sense of ownership now one. Let me say this now we own, and that's what it for me.
Okay, Mr.
We for they do
Sisi.
things as Sierra Leoneans, not to all things. If like say if people they not can do it for who not get sense for do no. So the vice president in day one of that waiting God as hell now for ensure ownership of the process. You understand me?
Okay.
In all the thing, the elections outcome. Now, court somebody look into her. You don't only go to the Supreme Court. Nobody else they look into her.
Another money again. I say Tuesday, man. I say Tuesday. I say Frambo. I don't know if you don't see how they take notes now, say. The number of killing Shalom people, them waiting a tongue now. I say them plenty, I say them plenty bad, and more of them. Na de young baba de mine, na dem. Ate Ormando Industry now, Ormando Industry. Ate when they clean a house, then take clean salon, get that dirty, and you give them small thing, then put the dirty inside bag. As then turn around so you pull face, bang, then throw back the dirty in the street. I say, bo. At why young people thinking they do so, man? Why young people thinking they do so? At the fumble, I say now, if you see person where they go now, you do more for clean salon, you know, see with stroke. You know, see get stroke for push dirty to, I say nogi and dirty man, nogi and fadding, nogi and don't go. Because na the street they go dirty back. Nogi and don't go. At the say, na them boys and back where they go feel na boku pan them. At na then they involve mine just for go check that thing. At Paul we got the under force. At la and congratulations, man. I say congratulations. I say, not for the choco, we got choco. This not the appointment, we go put one side. I say, me no been sabi who is responsible for the food that we did at the school feeding program. I been the go, no. Na ya then she don't say, party people they don't vex, they got to balance the party grassroots people there. I say, all of a sudden, I say, God on can put one young boy there. I say, I say, competent young boy. But oh yeah, the young boy then now then they put in this government, it election them body all warm. I say one body young boy then and then they put, but I say this one, I say in get the pedigree, I say in get the know-how. But yeah, with the water man, if we mistake, I say with the wapubo. Na person they draw me attention, say that you are about to say, it's a way to make plenty time, you know, they talk about the well football they carry on. Nah, say, nah, say football himself, no, they talk for himself. I say because the Canada talk with football, they talk, I say, I say now, chef, right now, you tell man, say you support Leone start if they look you bad, I say because the Canada thing, where you start, we just they go down the drain. I don't know how much with themselves now, na the Yankee. I say you say local government money for me. I say then they let you know in my, and now they no say. Emmanuel, I get tactics them. Emmanuel, I get formation. I say the Maloa way Emmanuel, I give them. And now them conscious man. Person they ask me, say what about it? Boy, I say go get pinnacle in footway go na US. I say waiting. Me na the honorable Wakabot.
The program Good Morning Salon they continue, and now we call over to Abdul Fatoma, Chief Executive for CHRDI Asidea for look inside President Bio's speech where he make during the term we didn't make inside one lecture. Now, according to allegation now that the US ambassador being called for let and not call the results due to things they wouldn't think say, you know, they find out inside this past election we not correct. Some of them think they are some of the allegations they are. I think say the U.S. ambassador supposed to do so.
Well, in diplomatic practice, a wrong then to we laws, and also the United States then laws, a wrong for let any individual or institution or group interfere into electioneering process. But the conversation between the president of Sierra Leone and the U.S. ambassador, because of a diplomat, it always sounds as a diplomatic conversations. Then diplomatic conversations are more confidential. So these not a conversations, they're no more they let out so easily, But however, now we country president don't make this thing say, it don't make the statement say the U.S. ambassador be column, at the height of the electioneering process, he, suggest to and say, make a call ECSL for make them go hold on the calling of the result. So that go be tantamount to interference into the process. And in the presidency, get that power there for do that. And that are the laws of this country prevent, the president for letting go do that. But if he also do that, behind the scene that nobody know leak him, he also wrong. But then, like I say, most diplomatic conversation, mean say that within diplomatic institutions to diplomatic, even, confidentiality within the media and civil society, something in the world will talk. You cannot say it, no matter how hot you. If you say that, you don't break a whole lot of confidence and trust in terms of whether or not some of the critical and sensitive things that I will engage you on with. So basically, if the allegations go saying are true, that helpful undermines America's stance on democracy. Right. Because that stance on democracy from America, now incorrectly then they try to fight to the wall, say, listen, we believe in the rule of law, we believe in democracy, and no matter who, if you interfere into, processes the way the law not give you right for interfere to, you stand, the chance for face the law. Right. And it currently happen in the United States. So like I said earlier on, if the United States, I know say they're not going to treat this allegation very lightly. They're going to treat them very seriously and look into it. And if it can be true, then definitely, the public will see, the position on that.
Another thing again, where the president mentioned that the statement of the U.S. embassy in a salon can lead to coup. And if you watch around social media, people again, don't they say some of them things there, at times not necessary for the president talk at that particular time, the way we get visa restriction, we get the MCCU issues and the rest.
Well, you see, the statement where the U.S. ambassador make, everybody get right for, view other personal opinion as to how insane. Like, where are they talk so, for some people are they talk Ben, for some people are they talk treat.
Okay.
But the things that way they make coup happen West Africa or Africa in general, now about bad governance. The way where we African leaders and they treat the citizens, the way where citizens and they get deprived of social services, the way where citizens lack confidence and trust into the governance system of the country. So with that, it provoke. So then, the MCC issue, the MCC money, either the government or the U.S., and then they talk straight to the people of this country with this MCC money issue. This MCC money, you can even believe that, say, the procurement process, then scrap local procurement. Now, only their procurement process then they go through. So it's not even a hybrid system.
Okay.
That say, they can't help salon, so they use both salon procurement law and what is that. So it go, and who that pays the contractors directly? Not the United States. The money just there in name say that they give the people of Sierra Leone. But the money they sit down at the United States, any contractor will win any bid for implement any project or thing on the MCC. It comes directly from the state, not through Bank of Sierra Leone or through Ministry of Finance. So, but then again, Sierra Leone government for look at if the USA part of una punishment because we relationship sour, we don't give una this money. Salon for be very smart enough. The US help them for let them develop a project on how we reduce we energy crisis, meaning we electricity crisis. So now African Development Bank Day and so many other developers and they where they can able for sell this project to and then bring in the necessary infrastructure we need as a country. So but basically for we as a country actually the act we aid around if the money become only if then bring local staff them now they will get income. But if the contractors the international contractors win get more of foreign expert there, how much will they gain?
So we just get a signal from a producer them say listening via them would extend 5 minutes more to this edition of the program.
So
Good morning, Salon. No, we will
Okay.
need for make that announcement today. Over to you again, Mr. Sise. One important thing people want on a government delegation we go take part on this year United Nations General Assembly. How many people are we go?
I don't get that number there on top me right now. She don't know. Maybe later I will send them to you. Me if don't get them from Musa forget them.
Okay, so even though you don't make a
definitely it will be as big as I did be before. Because President yes.
As big as you get figure in that line there.
Under the previous administration, know how much people be go here. I know how for going to that day. So what when they talk say no will be a big before. Now for no that day. If it then pass you and the president be done they go. And then they go to that kind of big delegation.
But we don't see then they pull out list of people with presidents they travel with.
Yeah, so then I say another time she don't show. But then wait they later in the day I can make available to.
We understand say back some people away President Mwango with na the UN, the American embassy not give them visa.
I'm not aware of that.
So why the information is very important?
I'm not aware of that, and I'm not sure saying that true. What you mean, now that the people always be supposed for, then the president entourage, they all get visa and they all go on the UN conference.
Do you not get figure? But you go attest now. I say the one day we go. No, the one day we supposed to go.
About the number we go.
So now I want make something clear.
For say they left anybody because you not get a visa, that is not.
No,
true,
so that me question related to. So me point.
When I'm ask.
So me will ask something else different. Do you say you don't get the exact number of people, but you go attest the one day we go now the rightful people we supposed to go?
We don't care anybody go, we not get nothing for go do. Right. So anybody where she go, somebody gets something for go do.
Mr. Sise, let's bring you back to the speech. Plenty people, me they expect say this time around we Salon they go that particular, program day. Now follow we look at issues them we get for do with the visa restriction, the MCC and the rest. But waiting people, don't they say that waiting the president go say things that we contrary, especially we get for do with the American embassy now wherein he said the statement of go make coup happen at the country. So in any way government things say some of them statements there necessary at this particular point where we get issue with the US or America.
We're not going no issue with America.
But we get issue, we get visa restriction and all that.
Let we come. Even the visa restriction, they not tell you who that. And for
they mention specific people
they not tell you say na government official.
People where they think say get hand on the
so
elections.
People some of them not necessarily the government official. It can be yourself can go there and say we be monitor you or something. Yourself will not give visa because of ABCD. They not call nobody.
But now these are some of the issues that
so that's what I'm saying. Diplomacy, which other engagement they happen, they don't can make a known to me and you now.
But the president don't make a known on conversation between he and the ambassador.
All the president did now for set the record straight with regards alleged interference in the electoral process will lead to them visa restrictions. That was all the president who they respond. The election the president go give, it not begin nothing for do Salon election. So they do Chima capital development. It don't make it for everything. Now the interviewer now ask that question and he had to respond.
Now all that to look at.
You understand? So let's get that clear. Now I don't tell you initially say we relationship with the United States, we they continue for deepening now, we they continue for strengthening them, and we'll go sour. You understand?
So I go describe
a lot of engagements they happen at the diplomatic circles. Not all things they can't take in now. Even when president go the MCC self when they talk say yes, the president gets meeting with the head of the MCC. Man was all right. They got fruitful discussions. You understand? The president don't get meet with IMF boss. You understand? They get fruitful discussion. They meet with a lot of people there on the sidelines of the UN. Yeah. So their engagement here they continue, and we don't know. We not get no problem with US. What happen? They get for do it asking somebody for poor law.
Okay, Mr.
And the president not the poor law. Because he's a custodian of the law.
Okay, well, plenty thank you to your name, Josie, Head of Strategic Communication at the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. We don't can talk about President Bio's engagements now, ONGA, and other specific one, them especially on the Q&A session. Also, I talk on things that were critical. Over to you, Abdul, Fatoma, in terms of all of the issue here, waiting government for land from this and waiting for improvement on going forward, where you can have bilateral relationship and all.
Well, the United States then, report on Sierra Leone has not always been good. When it comes to human rights, when you look the U.S., human rights report, and with democracy and with governance issues, it continue for raise a very high bar and challenges. Even though, we've been to celebrate the same MCC scorecard them, they see state institutions and they celebrate, they say even the MCC, previous ministers and, they celebrate that. But when it comes now to the time of challenges on the same governance issues, questioning the governance issues, all of a sudden, the MCC, not relevant. But then, also, I've been talk about the challenges of the MCC, if the government or the United States, or they actually speak the truth to the people.
Okay.
How they bring investment, part of the local law. So if say, salon procurement law not very strengthening, so why not you try for help in the time where they can, we build a hybrid system of procurement process.
Okay.
So these and other things, but then I think, the Sierra Leone government need for land very strongly, how for engage diplomatically than how for engage, otherwise.
Thank you very much, Abdul Fatoma, Chief Executive from CHRDI, where you can talk on this program today. And also Joe Cisse, Head of Strategic Communication from the Ministry of Information and Civic Education. As today, Radio Democracy, they look at President Bio in speech where make the American University. And we'll be also there assess some of the things that we talk about if it will affect the country in governance structure and also the impact to the diplomatic community. Thanks to all two on our guests inside the program. Good morning, Salon, this morning.